Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, when it comes to practice meditation, that mainly we know that we try to understand deeper inside us. And one of the greater the difficulties is about the self, because the self invisible, and the self is the spirit of your body and mind. It is not separate from something. The self itself, form, feeling, sensation, formation, recognition, this everything come together. This process is self. But it always hide. That's why you can see the feeling. When you see one by one, you can see some informations. But to recognize this everything as one and how this process happening is very difficult. It's a kind of self is kind of like a terrorist leader. Thoughts everywhere, like there are followers everywhere, but the leader you can't find. It's like an underworld leader. There are people ready to do a lot of things for him, behalf of him. Self is like a corrupted politician. Why? Because they do things you cannot find evidence. They steal money, they kill people, they do a lot of things. But you can't find evidence. They don't keep any evidence. They destroy all the evidence. Self also like that. So the self is always don't keep any evidence. It's a very smart to hide. And other way, self is like a black cardinal. The idea of black cardinal. He is not come forward at any time, but he giving all the advice and everything, and how to do, what to do. And it's a kind of like a religious leader, but no one knows who is that person. Self also like that. See, we do everything. We maintain our life for self. But still, when it comes to who is this self, you have no idea. So one way, your name is yourself. See, that whatever the name you carry, even that name given by somebody else, even you don't know who is that. So nowadays, that's when the baby born, and sometimes parent ask, oh, can you give us a good name? Or maybe they call to somebody, or they go online, babies names, they check, and then they find, oh, this sound good. They go mostly in the ancient time, they used to go with the meaning. Why? Because when you saying it again and again, again and again, your name is kind of like a powerful mantra. But now they go with they don't know sometimes the meaning, they go with that. So they pick whatever the name. So name is kind of like a self. Another thing is the form is self. So it's self like the picture. So that's why when you take a picture and when you look, what you look your your place, your posture, your body. Another thing is the feeling we take as self, and the thoughts you take as self, and other thing is the consciousness you take as self. Even when it comes to this consciousness, that this consciousness that you know that the consciousness and there is a subconsciousness, and then in the deeper there this consciousness, even beyond that, this consciousness has a very collective memory from long time, from the history. And there is no name for that kind of consciousness if you categorize it. So then you are deeper than you think when it comes to consciousness. So this invisible self, time to time, become powerful. One is emotions. Remember that. Look yourself. Sit and look, kind of like investigate, analyze yourself without judging. When the when the feelings come, when the emotions arise, when the feelings come, when the thought arise, why you react to it, from where this come, how it govern, when a thought come, how that thought govern to fulfill a action. So you have to have a very sharp and clear mind. See how that like a gangster or underworld leader, how the government try to catch them. It's not easy, but still there is a possibility to catch. And the terrorist leader, you know it take years. It's not overnight you can get that. No, you cannot do that. So it take years, but still you can catch it. The same thing with the self. It doesn't matter, it may take years, but still you can understand this. That is the good thing with this. Even though it is invisible, if you start to look, you're going to find it, but it takes time. But the thing is this, rather than looking about it, and if you start to behave according to that, you're not going to find it. So mostly in day-to-day life, rather than looking who is this self, what is this self, what is the nature of it, what we does, we try to just maintain it. So then how we can find it? So then what we can do to find the self? So to find the self, the very important thing, we have to be empty. Physically, mentally, we have to be empty. So when it comes to be empty, then suddenly it comes to kind of like a material emptiness. It's nothing to do with material. Why? Because when it comes to vipassana, the main purpose is self-realization. That real self-realization that we call in another inside meditation, it is about form, feeling, sensation, formation, recognition. It's nothing to do with the outside world. So it is about you. Even you live in the middle of the palace, but still you are possible to understand this. But even maybe you are living in the middle of the desert and without anything, even without any garment on your body. But still, that doesn't mean you can understand this. As you know from the history to still, there are a lot of yogis, ascetics, practice that path and try to 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 understand giving up this everything. But Buddha came in a different way. And sometimes on this journey, so the very first thing that you have to do to recognize this deeper inside emptiness, how you can make empty yourself without having any material. Mentally you can hold into everything, and also having this everything around you, mentally you can be empty. So that is the path you have to develop yourself. Even though you have everything this outside world, just let that things to be there as it is. Don't grasp, because the very nature of the mind is kind of like a velcro, holding, grasping. It's like glue. So then yourself always remember to make it empty. So one thing and make it empty. So how you can do it? The very first thing that you have to have a intention to be empty inside your mind. So once you have it, little by little, when you start to look into it, and you will find a way. Because without having that intention in you, how you going to get it? So then remember, the the very first step to catch the self, or the recognize the self, and learn to be empty within your mind. Another thing is slow down. Don't be so busy. Learn to be slow down. When you slow down physically, whatever the actions you do, don't be hurry. Slow down. Another thing is, don't walk too much. Don't walk too much. If you walk too much as a habit, it's very difficult for you to mentally to settle down. That's why this dancing, singing, this kind of things, slowly you cut down when you go in this path. Dancing, you moving your body, you always moving, and you like to get into rhythm, and it make you high, feel high. So if you start to get into that, how about like this, how you going to sit and allow everything to settle down? Because your body like to dance, move. So that's why, so remember, the walking also the same, don't walk too much. So the physically start to practice that. Mentally start to release everything from your mind every day. Just imagine, close your eyes. Imagine like it is a technique. Imagine like you are in the mother's womb. Because there is a muscle memory in you. Deeper in your mind, there is. So that's why. time to time we try to achieve to that feeling. Just imagine yourself, just think yourself, you are like in the mother's womb. Close your eyes, and it will help you get into total emptiness in your mind. And people achieve to that. So there are some power and the winning and the sex and the high mental powers like attaining to dhyana. This all similar to same thing like you are in the mother's womb. There's the same feeling. When you winning, in that very moment, in your mind, what you feel is the same feeling like you are in the mother's womb. How it is possible? Because as you know that with the many sperms, you had the huge race, and you are a winner there. That's why you get into the mother's womb. See that you have that. That's why people like to win. And the power and the power, people like to achieve to it, and always gaining it. The same thing. You strong, otherwise you cannot get into the mother's womb. So that's the memory you repeating every day. When it comes to boxing, see, that's the two people fighting each other, and finally what? It doesn't make any sense. But they like to win. Everywhere people like to win. Even that in day-to-day life, this deeper nature hold us. It's kind of like everywhere you see, everybody like to win. Why? Because that is the deeper, the hide, the consciousness play this role. Why? Because our life begin with this all. And the sex, that's the same thing. That's why our life start like that way there. So it is the beginning point. So that's why again and again people like to go into it. Another thing is the attaining to dhyana. Attaining to dhyana also giving the same feeling like you are in the mother's womb. That's why people addicted to meditation. But the vipassana is completely out of this all. So your vipassana is it's not attaining to dhyana. You go beyond the dhyana. This vipassana is nothing to do with the deeper this meditation practice. Tranquility meditation we do as a foundation to get into that. But then beyond that, we observe and recognize this entire the behavior. So that's a different, completely different way. That's why I look at the Buddha during the Buddha's time. How many ascetics, they had the many methods. See, finally what happened, and get out of it all. So the emptiness, real emptiness, you can achieve even mentally. You able to get into deeply when you observe and recognize yourself, and deeply when you are concentrate yourself and detach from everything, you get the feeling that whatever the same feeling that you had in the mother's womb. So When you able to achieve to it consciously, and you recognize the behavior of the self. So becoming empty is a kind of like a method, and detach from things. That's why when you come to vipassana level, you don't go to sex, or you don't marry. You detach. Why? Because then you're not going to empower that way your mind. Because then what will happen? You start to 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 not to ignite that nature. Then your mind start to go a different way. And then other thing is, you're not going to winning, or you're not going to power. So you get out of, as you know, there are a lot of kings. When they start to get into the dharma, they get out of entire kingdom. How it is possible? What is how that you reach to the highest, and you believing this everything? And what is that person take out of, without pushing anybody, or doing and mesmerizing or brainwashing? That person himself decide to get out of it. This is enough for me. I don't want this. What is that? From where that come? Another thing is dhyana. Dhyana also attaining to high mental powers, absorptions. Also, it's it's nothing a big thing. That it's also kind of like mesmerizing the mind. There are people different ways to do that. And sometimes eons by eons you caught up with the kind of like existence. You cannot get out of it. Even you don't know there is existence. So that's why a becoming empty means, try to, at least for a few minutes, get out of this kind of mentality. Don't empower your sexual power. Mostly in day-to-day life, look, whatever we watch every day, even selling a tire, next to a tire, half naked woman. That's mean what? They selling ideology of the sex. Even selling a cookie, and you are watching advertisement. Even a song, now there are, most of the song have the background dancing. So when you look for freedom, when you're through nature to get into that, these are hindrance, but we don't see this. So then in day-to-day life, because that is life, nothing wrong with it. That is life. We have to go with. But at the same time, when you look for the true freedom, it come to your choice. That's the important thing. So when it comes to choice, you are the master. So then you have to, why you get that choice? Ask yourself. If there is a reason, go for it. You will enjoy it. Winning. If there is a reason for you, go for it. And the power. If there is a reason, go for it. And even the meditation, different meditation techniques, people practice. Look yourself and ask yourself why you want it. Where are you going to end with this? If it is your choice, go for it. Why? Because always heaven after the hell. That's the nature. Heaven is always after the hell. So just look at, when you look during the Buddha's time, most of the people attain to enlightenment very easily when they go through the hell of this life, they understood everything and understand themselves. This is nothing. This is done. Then you attend to it. Why? Because it is our choice. We don't let go this. Why? Because this self behind holding us play with it. And so like that sometimes in life we go with this everything. And but finally you will get into that. So we start with the emptiness. So those are these things, this emptiness really is related. You can imagine when just closing your eyes, just imagine you are in the mother's womb and you get into something, you get into that. And be careful in that very moment not to not to disturb with any kind of thoughts related to the sex or the power or the winning nature or the dhyana. Without that anything, if you able to get into that, you will recognize it is like this. As example, you know it's a psychological example how you become empty. So you have the thread and the needle, and there are few peoples, one person have the empty hand and other person have just the gloves. Nowadays we use the gloves, and another person have the baseball gloves, and another person have the cricket gloves, and another person have the boxing gloves. And this each person try to put this thread to the needle head. The empty hand person is take very less time than any other person. So when you become empty, you are able to reach to the maximum. That is, listen this that very carefully. And so when you become empty, you able to reach to the maximum. So the vipassana is a method that the mentally you become completely empty. That emptiness with the awareness, and that emptiness with the awareness will allow you to see clearly. With that clarity, whatever you see, it allows you to recognize very clearly as it is, how things come to be as they are. So that is a process. But in day-to-day life, learn to be empty. That emptiness is a very important. It is not physically, the mental emptiness. It is there. So only thing is just try to tap into it. In day-to-day life, we dealing with other things as I mentioned, but you miss that the emptiness. So it is there that reach to that and try to get into that moment by moment, moment by moment. If you able to pinch that point in your deeper muscle memory, subconscious mind, deeper beyond even the subconscious mind, and that memory that you had the moment that you are live in the mother's womb, it is more than 9 months you had there. Just close your eyes and see, can you get into that? Give a try. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. එත්තාවතාච අම්මි සම්පදම් පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ දේවානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා සබ්බේ සත්තානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤ කම්මං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු සබ්බ දුක්ඛා පමුඤ්චතු. Bless you.